Belichick possibly planting his flag on Tobacco Road, and an Ohio lawmaker wants to ban flag planting at Ohio Stadium. Josh Williams, Representative Josh Williams, Republican in Ohio for the House, he has proposed a bill that would ban flag planting and make it a felony, a fifth-degree felony for planting flags at the stadium. What does that entail? Well, here's the bill that's been proposed. It is a fifth-degree felony, Chad, 6 to 12 months in jail, up to a $2,500 fine for a fifth-degree felony in Ohio. A judge could impose additional 5 years of probation following the sentence. And examples of a fifth-degree felony in Ohio: breaking and entering, and theft between $1,000 and $7,500 is a fifth-degree felony.
My favorite part of this whole thing is Section 2.
Yes.
This act shall be known as the O.H.I.O. Sportsmanship Act. Once again, Tyler Castle ducking us. I wish he was in studio so we could discuss this right now with his Ohio State team. This is one of the weaker things
the
that I've
Sportsmanship
ever
Act.
seen. And even Ohio State fans, this is totally a ploy to play to your base, because they've already, I think they're done making laws for the year in Ohio. This isn't even anything. They can't even meet on this until this is someone capitalizing on the now.
Tennessee can do
to play to their base.
They could be the final flag planted at the stadium.
Yes.
Legally.
Look, when the NCAA looks into Tennessee for NIL violations,
Michigan.
Tennessee lawmakers are going to jump all over it and do interviews, and I'm fine with it. We'll interview them if they want to come on. But what it is just a big attention grab that means absolutely nothing.
The Sportsmanship Act. So
the O.H.I.O. Sportsmanship Act.
So the Sportsmanship Act, the O.H.I.O. Sportsmanship Act, is apparently, from what the Big Ten handed down for violation of their Sportsmanship Act last year to Michigan, to now it's a felony in the state of Ohio, potentially, based on what Representative Josh Williams has proposed. He's also, Representative Williams also proposed a ban on drag queen performances where minors could be present. This was a couple of years ago in Ohio. So that's all that's what
can they lump that into the O.H.I.O. Sportsmanship Act also?
It's gone from drag queens to banning now flag planting.
You know, on top of not being able to plant a flag during a football game, adults shouldn't be exposing themselves to minors. We should put that in there also. Maybe that should be a little bit higher than a fifth-degree felony.
He's already attacked
which
that
planting a flag would become.
Yeah,
if I'm a coach of a program, I wouldn't want my guys after victory doing that. I'd tell them to get to the locker room and celebrate there. I would not like it one bit if I'm Sharon Moore or anyone else coaching a team. On the flip side of that, if it's so damn disrespectful and someone's inciting a riot by doing it, there are a couple things you could do here. Put your cops around midfield and protect it, and put up the barriers, riot protection, to stop a team from going to midfield when it happens. Or, and I was on a radio show today, and someone brought this up, the host of the show, have a GA or someone remove the flags. Go to the cheerleaders, take the flags out of the stadium. If it's that big of a deal, just like you have security, get it, which doesn't do anything, but this actually would. You have security barricade the field for someone possibly storming the field. We've seen in the past that goalposts have been protected by cops and security. Then have someone take the damn flag away and take it back into the concourse somewhere where no one can get to it, and then you won't have
I don't know how many
these reprehensible incidents of someone planting a flag on the field.
So then you have Jack Sawyer, who in the video where Ryan Day is standing there not doing anything.
Ohio State fans wish it was Urban Meyer.
Yeah, he would have done something. He would have been in the locker room already. He rips the flag away from another player that grabbed a second or third option.
Tell me about how you're better than everyone else and you stand for more. As a Michigan man, how important that is to you. Because all you do is you just fights follow you. For whatever reason, I don't know what's going on there, but fights seem to follow this Michigan team.
I don't have a problem with coming up with a solution to prevent the fights. But planting a flag is, if we're really talking about, that's, how many times have we seen that? They were talking about, you have Ohio State band forming was it a bear or a wolverine, I guess, is what they
Yeah.
were forming. I couldn't tell what they were. It was an animal who took a crap on the Michigan flag during their halftime show with the poop emoji. That was another flag. It looked cool from the upper deck how they did this, but I mean, you have Ohio State's band, meaning like the band director put this together. They practiced this, and they're doing basically a similar thing to the Michigan logo. It's all not at this halftime. This was 2 or 3 weeks prior. It's all way overblown.
Yeah, it's reaction to the reaction.
We didn't see. Well, I mean, we saw the reaction of every team that lost at home as it trickled down to all the different games throughout. But that was a reaction to what happened in Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, they were trying to start a brawl too.
Yeah,
it was the talking point of the day. Yeah, it's always the overreaction to whatever the reaction is. The reaction to Ohio State was to fight, and it started a big fight when that happened. And then other teams decided to do it that day in an inordinate amount because you don't normally see it that often. And then other incidents happened throughout the day. So now this stupid law is another overreaction to the reaction. It reminds me of the horns down thing.
Yeah.
With the rules that
and the SEC.
It's not the horns down. It's the sign of disrespect for whatever reason that it's like a holy ritual. And if you do it to a Texas fan, it automatically means physical violence.
Bo Scaife once told me it's like just putting the middle finger in your face. And Vince Young reacted like it was that.
Yes.
With the karate kick. What happened to the trophies of these rivalries instead of the flag? Because you don't break the trophy. You don't plant that in the ground. I mean, I guess Michigan would.
Yeah, to tout the trophy around.
You know what I mean, though? Like you would play for something. Something to signify the rivalry.
And a lot of these, they do have trophies, but yeah, it's
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know they have a trophy for this game.
See, I think the trophy should be the flag.
Go and get the trophy.
You capture the other school's flag.
Or just don't be a dumbass.
Well,
there are plenty of ways to celebrate that don't involve going to midfield and planting a flag or doing anything else. Hutton, you talk a lot about dumbass tax.
Yeah, there's a dumbass tax.
I mean, if you're going to go and do that and disrespect someone or whatever, then you got to pay the consequences.
Sure, but I don't know. Consequences meaning what, though? Because, we saw this.
If Ohio State would have been despondent and just walked off the field when it happened, Michigan would have done that. They would have jumped around for about 10 seconds, and it would have been over, and no one would care.
Yeah,
but we're reacting to the reaction. So if the reaction is, you just spit on my mother's grave by doing this at midfield, I'm going to fight every last one of you, then we got to stop it.
Well, I'm glad.
We got to make sure that doesn't happen.
I'm glad they're treating the school they're playing for like that, quite frankly.
I don't hate it.
Everyone, I don't either. I don't because that's why we wanted to keep the rivalries around. They're not going to get rid of Ohio State, Michigan.
I don't hate it, but
I like the passion behind it.
Yeah, and if that's going to be the level of passion, though, it's understandable. Well, they have to stop flag planting.
Well,
because you can't have a brawl every time it happens.
Well, I mean, I don't see this. Come up with a solution to not have the brawl. I'm not looking for UFC fight night after the game ends. But I mean, the state of Florida isn't proposing some bill.
Well, and
we saw a fight start there based on flag planting.
Yeah, wasn't as bad, but yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like they're trying to just get rid of it. It's part of the rivalry that you have. That's why you talk about this not for a week but for a year. I mean, it doesn't make just your week as a fan. It makes your season if you beat your rival. I like the fact that in this format that we're in, it's that championship, not the championship week, the rivalry weekend at the end of the season meant something. When it's done everything to really dilute the rivalry matchups at the end of the season. We don't look forward to that. We look forward to who's getting in the playoff now. We're already looking ahead instead of being in the I didn't hate it, although there's nothing good that comes from the fights.
I like the passion. It's just if that's going to be, if we're drawing that line,
right?
That's the line in the sand now. If you do this, I'm going to fight you. Then I understand schools or programs saying, then we can't do X anymore because we can't have any more brawls. And we can't have pepper spray being sprayed on our players and everyone else around. So we have to stop this. So the Big Ten's probably going to have to come out and make some blanket rule about it for every team because apparently this is spitting on a religious artifact if you go to midfield and do that.
We saw this.
I think that's over the top, but again, I like the passion of the Ohio State players, but if that's where we are, they have to stop it.
We saw this in 2021, or was it 2019? The Titans on the road, standing on the Baltimore Ravens midfield emblem, and the Ravens got pissed off, and they got into it pregame for standing on the Raven. I mean, in the NFL, where it's their job more so than their passion to play for the Baltimore Ravens or the Tennessee Titans. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you had that same weekend.
But the same reaction.
The same weekend, Nebraska refused to shake hands with Iowa. And then Iowa players went up and said, bad move, not shaking our hand.
The Michigan-Ohio State
immediately started talking shit to Matt Rule. And Matt Rule's talking back to other players. I don't know why Matt Rule or Nebraska players would have done that, but supposedly, Hutton, it's because they pray at midfield before the game, and Iowa players or the security told them to get off midfield during their prayer. Mid-prayer,
off their logo.
They told them to do that. So Nebraska's response was, now we're not going to shake your hand. It's dumb. Some of this stuff is just unnecessary BS. The passion can still be there, and we can have some passionate responses to things, but let's not make them dumb things we're responding to.
Well, let's not be in the moment and make a felony charge out of it either.
Of course not. And this isn't going to pass. I would hope not. Maybe the people of Ohio, I'm giving them too much credit here.
Well, no, they hate
but
Michigan
I feel
that
like the other lawmakers are not going to pass the O.H.I.O. sportsmanship law.
They're not worried about Iowa coming in there and planting their flag. Like, they hate Michigan that much. They don't even say the damn state's name. So, but again, so I guess it's a felony if their own players do this, planting flags. And by the way, can you plant something else instead of a flag? Is it just flag planting?
I mean, they're going to have to get rid of all flags. The next thing is, like Bevo, you had to get rid of him at the SEC championship game. Live animal mascots, no flags. Sorry, cheerleaders.
Can you take a shovel and plant a Buckeye?
You can run out in the field with a flag, and then that flag is going in the store, just going back on the bus for you to head back home.
I'll say this, though. If the Tennessee Volunteers are the final team that can plant a flag, plant that flag.
Do you remember?
Do it.
Do you remember, Hutton, when before this law gets passed, we're going to have to plant this flag at midfield? That's really funny. Do you remember when our buddy Keith Bullock stomped on a terrible towel?
Oh, yes.
At the end of a Monday Night Football win, I think it was, against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
And Steelers fans, I remember being in local radio at the time, Steelers fans treated that towel like it was the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah.
I mean, you could not desecrate a towel. It is a free towel that is in your seat when you pay for a ticket to the game. And Steelers fans treated that towel. How dare you disrespect the towel? You cannot spit on it. You can't stomp on it. You can't do anything. And cursed be Keith Bullock for stomping on the towel. It was the most ridiculous, over-the-top thing I've ever heard. But I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
But
Texas fans with the downward hook, it's so over the top. But it represents
everyone when you do that, not just a player, not just an argument. The fan base, the program. You are desecrating on the entire program.
Everything this place stands for.
Everything.
You're spitting on it.
Yeah, and Myron Cope comes up with the terrible towel in like the 70s, and I think they were playing the Baltimore Colts or something, and you have it. I love it. It's great. It has a collegiate feel to it, but I mean, the fact that Keith Bullock did that. And by the way, the Steelers had a ton of success after that. He still hears from Steelers fans.
Yeah, it was the curse of Bullock stomping on the towel. It's also, the more things happen, the less cool it gets, and it kind of quietly goes away anyway. Another example is, I believe it's a 15-yard penalty if you mock the Gator chomp after a touchdown.
If you do that. But you can do the downward.
They're looking at you, and they'll flag you.
You can do the downward horns, but you can't do
quickly.
the Gator
I think if you do something with the Gator chomp, I don't think you can do it in the end zone after a touchdown. But if everybody who ever scores a touchdown against Florida does the same celebration, guess what? It loses its luster. Florida fans don't even care anymore. Oh, look, that guy scored a touchdown and did the Gator chomp. Never seen that one before. And then eventually kids stop doing it because it's not cool anymore. So some of these things you could just let naturally play out.
Or you just, propose a bill.
Stop everyone. It's really uncool when a politician...
The ceremonial flag planting.
When a state congressman gets involved and decides to try to pass legislation, that's when it's really not cool for the kids anymore.
The week in the fall when it's officially banned, Chad, when it's a felony. He will be the final planter of the flag.
Michigan needs to just ban flags now.
He will be out there for the coin toss.
The move for a Michigan representative is to ban flags altogether. You can't even bring a flag into a Michigan-based stadium.
No flags.
No cheerleaders either. No pom-poms. No signs whatsoever that display that you are a program to be proud of.
Does the bill specifically say flag?
We got to go back to the bill.
What about a pennant? Can you bring a pennant? Again. Is a pennant a flag?
That would be funny if people got creative with it and decided to bring different things to
plant
stick in
a flagpole with a flag attached to it.
Oh, then you could have
so you can plant a flagpole, just not the flag.
You could have a stuffed Wolverine attached to the flag.
A stake instead of a flagpole.
Put that
again.
On there?
You be very specific, and you
is a pennant a flag?
That's what I'm asking. Like I don't know.
By definition,
I guess so. Again,
Hutton, you and I should have gone to law school.
What about a T-shirt with the logo on
it? This
what would Connor Stallions have done if he were still with the program?
What if Connor Stallions was attached to the stake, and they staked Connor Stallions, who was tied to the stake in some way at midfield? Now that would be a celebration.
There you go.
Here's a trident.
This is not a flag.
It's a trident.
So I guess Arizona State could go to Ohio Stadium and plant the trident.
I mean, there's no Arizona lawmakers that care enough about this game.
That's
saying anything about it.
Yeah.
Really speaks to the stakes of Arizona State.
I'm surprised it doesn't specifically mention Michigan. Only for Michigan players.
Anyone else can.
Yeah.
That would be funny, though, if
it's just the Wolverine.
If Tennessee's ahead in the final minutes and they're just swaying the flag on the other sideline, getting it ready.
Isn't it?
Getting it warm just to taunt them.
It'd be so good.
Oh, man.
Isn't it? It's not a coincidence that this is the same university, Ohio State, that was calling up the Big Ten last year, hammering them for the sportsmanship violation on Michigan. You know, there were teams behind the scenes. It was Purdue, Ohio State.
Oh, the ones that wanted them to be punished.
Punished through the sportsmanship.
Well, yeah, I mean, this falls right in line with that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that it's the same version of this, but, you know, they're going to go through the lawmakers instead of the conference.
Yeah, if the Big Ten's not going to do anything, someone in the state of Ohio will.